Chapter 1874. Boom. Desolate Force's fist clashed with the Golden Crow Crown Prince's claw. Instantly, the Golden Crow Crown Prince's face changed and he quickly retreated. His hand trembled as he felt a sharp pain. His finger had almost been broken by Desolate Force's punch. Lu Ming is right. You are indeed a sick bird. Desolate Force grinned. The other youths from the Desolate race burst into laughter. The Golden Crow Crown Prince said angrily as his eyes flashed with cold, murderous intent. He had been careless just now. Furthermore, he had never expected Desolate Force's punch to contain such terrifying power. Kill! The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared as he transformed into a huge, three-legged golden crow. His cultivation level of the Paragon Saint initial stage exploded as he flapped his wings and charged towards Desolate Force. The terrifying Great Divine Sunfire seemed to be able to burn everything as it surged towards Desolate Force. Desolate Force wore a pair of gloves on his hands as he circulated the Great Force Law. His fists constantly punched out. Every punch produced a terrifying roar in the sky as it formed a vacuum tunnel. The terrifying fist force blasted towards the Golden Crow Crown Prince and destroyed the Great Divine Sunfire. Swoosh! The Golden Crow Crown Prince's body shrunk to the size of a normal person, but his speed was even more astonishing. He charged towards Desolate Force like a golden beam of light. His three golden crow claws were extremely hard as if they could pierce through everything. He grabbed at Desolate Force while his wings slashed at Desolate Force like blades. Desolate Force stood still in the void as he constantly punched out with his fists, clashing violently with the Golden Crow Crown Prince. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of blows and Desolate Force managed to withstand the Golden Crow Crown Prince's attacks. Superior Heaven Spiritual Body, Lu Ming muttered. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's spiritual body was also a Superior Heaven spiritual body. With his cultivation level reaching the Paragon Saint realm, his combat power was indeed very strong. Lu Ming knew that although Desolate Force could withstand the attacks for a while, he would definitely lose over time. After all, a Supreme Saint was too far away from a Paragon Saint. Great Force Law. It's a king body. The elites who had been attracted by the battle from afar were shocked. Even Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, which was filled with elites, did not have many king bodies. Every appearance of a king body would attract attention. Once the king body grew up, it would be absolutely terrifying. The intense battle between Huangli and the Golden Crow Crown Prince continued, but as Lu Ming expected, the Golden Crow Crown Prince's attacks became more and more violent. Huangli gradually lost ground and was suppressed. I'll go help him. Behind Lu Ming, a figure stepped out. It was Autumn Moon. Two scimitars flew out from Autumn Moon's body. One was extremely cold while the other was extremely hot. The two scimitars spun and transformed into a destructive force that charged toward the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The terrifying power shocked the Golden Crow Crown Prince. He immediately unleashed his power to counterattack. The divine fire of the Great Sun and the Autumn Moon's power collided. However, the Golden Crow Crown Prince still underestimated Autumn Moon. The two scimitars broke through the divine fire of the Great Sun and slashed towards the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Crown Prince quickly retreated in shock, but he was still hit by the scimitars. Golden feathers fell from the sky. Bah! A sky full of bird feathers kill, Huangli shouted. He charged toward the Golden Crow Crown Prince and kept attacking with his fists. On the other hand, Autumn Moon cooperated with Huangli and used the laws of yin and yang to attack the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Crown Prince used all his power to fight against the two, but he was forced into a disadvantageous position. Another king body. Why are there so many king bodies? In the distance, many people were shocked. Huangli and Autumn Moon were both new, and they were with Huangling and Long Chun. This meant that Huangling and Long Chin's group had 4 king bodies. For king bodies, but their cultivation was still a bit weak. If they all became absolute saints, how powerful would that be? Despicable. 2 against 1. The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared. An absolute saint fighting a supreme saint. How dare you say that? How about this? Let's fight at the same level. That's only fair. Lu Ming glanced at the Golden Crow Crown Prince and the others with disdain. The Golden Crow Crown Prince and the others were tongue-tied. They were speechless. If they were at the same level, only those with a king constitution could contend with them. There were so many king constitutions on Lu Ming's side. What could they use to fight at the same level? Their advantage was their cultivation level. How could they give up their advantages and take advantage of their weaknesses? Miss Autumn Moon, you're from the one only sacred palace. Are you going to interfere with our business? The Golden Crow Crown Prince turned his target to Autumn Moon, hoping that Autumn Moon would back out of this. But Autumn Moon didn't care about the Golden Crow Crown Prince. She attacked even more fiercely. Huang Li and Autumn Moon attacked at close range and from afar. They cooperated with each other, and their combat power was amazing. The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared, but there was nothing he could do. The Golden Crow Crown Prince used all his strength, but he was at most on par with Autumn Moon and Huang Li. He was even at a disadvantage at times. Although the Golden Crow Crown Prince's cultivation was strong, and he had reached the initial stage of the Absolute Saint Realm, he had just broken through. Besides, the law he controlled wasn't the King way. As for Autumn Moon and Huang Li, they had reached the Great Saint Realm and were not far from the Absolute Saint Realm. The two of them together weren't weaker than the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The two sides exchanged dozens of blows, but it was still hard to determine the winner. That's amazing. There are two king bodies. Moreover, they came with Lu Ming. Huang Ling and Long Chun were still okay. After all, they had seen Autumn Moon before. But the other elites from Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect, as well as Mu Qingxue and Yi Dongfang, were shocked. There were two king bodies who came with Lu Ming, and their cultivation levels had reached the Great Saint Realm. They were stronger than Huang Ling and Long Chun. How strong were the rest? Many people couldn't help but look at the rest of the desolate race. The gazes of Huang Di and the others fell on the battlefield without blinking. Each of them had a strong fighting spirit and looked eager to fight. Previously, when they were in the ancient desolate sacred region, they had only faced a limited number of geniuses. When they saw so many geniuses, they could only feel their blood boiling and their battle intent burning. They could not wait to have a great battle like Huang Li. Lu Ming, fight me if you can. What's the point of hiding? The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared. Divine fire of the great sun gushed out, forcing Autumn Moon and Huang Li to retreat. You want to fight me? Okay, I'll fight you in the life and death arena. Do you dare? Lu Ming said. His voice was filled with a terrifying murderous intent. Life and death arena. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's heart skipped a beat. He was hesitant. He had heard of Lu Ming's combat power. But no matter how strong Lu Ming was, he was no match for him. But whoever stepped into the life and death arena would have to fight to the death. In the life and death arena, one could kill one's opponent. The Sacred Institute would not forbid it. It was very dangerous. Since the Sacred Institute's opening, there had not been many who had stepped into the life and death arena. Why? You wanted to challenge me before, but now you don't dare? You're so arrogant, but you're just a coward. Lu Ming sneered. His sarcasm was even more intense. Lu Ming, you don't know this. These people only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong. They use their power to bully others and use their connections to intimidate others. If they encounter someone stronger and more ruthless, they will immediately become cowards. Chapter 1875. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was enraged and his eyes were dark. If you don't dare to fight, then get lost. Lu Ming shouted and his voice spread far and wide. Let's fight. Lu Ming, let's fight to the death. I will kill you today. The Golden Crow Crown Prince shouted. All right. Lu Ming's lips curled up and his eyes were cold. He said, Autumn Moon, Huang Li, back off. Let me do it. All right, haha. Huang Li laughed loudly and threw out a few more punches before retreating with Qiuyu. The Golden Crow Crown Prince withdrew his great sun divine flame and turned into a tall young man in a golden robe. He looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent. Let's go to the death match. The Golden Crow Crown Prince turned around and left. Mo Lang, the second Crown Prince, and the others followed. Lu Ming, Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others also headed in that direction. The deathmatch is about to begin. Let's go and take a look. The crowd watching from afar also followed. Soon, they came to a spacious area. There was a huge purple-gold battle stage here. It was said that this battle stage was made by a martial emperor with a special medal. Ordinary martial emperors would not be able to break it. One could fight to their heart's content on it. The Golden Crow Crown Prince stepped onto the battle stage and stared at Lu Ming with murderous intent. He shouted, "Lu Ming, come up and die." Lu Ming was nonchalant. He took a step forward and stepped onto the fighting ring. "Brother Lu Ming, come on, kill him. I want to eat bird meat." Chirp, chirp. Bubbles waved her little fists and shouted. The Golden Crow tribe's sky prides were furious. This little thing wanted to eat the Golden Crow's meat. This made them angry. However, there were still people who were excited. "Is the three-legged bird meat tasty? Is it poisonous?" Huang Li had a silly look on his face. "It's not poisonous, and it's delicious. I've eaten a wing with Big Brother Lu Ming before. The meat is fresh and tender, and it's really delicious when paired with good wine." Chirp, chirp. As Bubbles spoke, her big eyes narrowed as she stuck out her tongue and licked her lips with a look of reminiscence. So delicious? Huang Li, Huang Di, and the other youths from the desolate race grinned and stared at the Golden Crow Prince on the battle stage. They wished they could take a bite out of him. The Golden Crow First Prince, Second Prince, and the rest of the geniuses of the Golden Crow tribe almost spat out mouthfuls of blood while trembling in anger. However, Lu Ming just smiled faintly and said, "I'm sorry, it's not easy to raise a child at home. His appetite is a little picky. Why don't you all contribute a little?" "Contribution, your sister." The Golden Crow Crown Prince almost cursed out loud. In the end, he roared, "Lu Ming, I'll devour you today. Kill." The Golden Crow Crown Prince transformed into his true form and flapped his wings, charging toward Lu Ming. 3 incomparably sharp claws grabbed at Lu Ming, wanting to tear Lu Ming apart. Boom! Lu Ming circulated his sacred power and revealed his cultivation base. The spectators were all stunned. Peak Supreme Saint. This person is only a Peak Supreme Saint, but he dares to fight the Golden Crow Crown Prince in a death match. How dare he? This person is dead for sure. In the previous battle, only 2 people with perfect Supreme Saint physiques could fight the Golden Crow Crown Prince. This person's Peak Supreme Saint cultivation base is no match for the Golden Crow Crown Prince. This person is going to die as soon as he comes to the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. What a pity. When Lu Ming revealed his cultivation base, the surrounding geniuses shook their heads. These geniuses were very talented and knowledgeable. Especially during this period of time, how many geniuses had they seen? But it was almost impossible for a Peak Supreme Saint to fight a genius like the Golden Crow Crown Prince. Even the few Elysian children would find it difficult to do so. They all thought that Lu Ming was dead for sure. But in the next moment, everyone's eyes suddenly widened. What law is that? The law of primal chaos. It's the law of primal chaos. Nest, another Elysian child? Many people shouted in shock. Boom. At that moment, Lu Ming's fist collided with the Golden Crow Crown Prince's sharp claws, causing a violent explosion. Then, the Golden Crow Crown Prince's huge body was sent flying by Lu Ming, and Lu Ming's body was also pushed back. They were evenly matched. Many people's hearts trembled. Lu Ming actually blocked the Golden Crow Crown Prince's attack with his Peak Supreme Saint cultivation base. This was too shocking. Die. The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared and spread his wings, flapping them violently. He pounced on Lu Ming again and launched an even more violent attack. Lu Ming activated the Suppressing Hell skill, and the law of primal chaos covered his body. Every time he punched, a Suppressing Hell steel appeared and suppressed the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The 2 of them continued to clash, and they were evenly matched. Great Sun burns the sky. Chaotic Calamity Finger. The Golden Crow Crown Prince and Lu Ming used their divine abilities at the same time. A huge sun and a huge finger collided. The 2 of them were in a stalemate for a while. In the end, the sun couldn't win and exploded under the Chaotic Calamity Finger. The Golden Crow Crown Prince frantically retreated. In the battle of divine abilities, Lu Ming had the upper hand. Now, Lu Ming's chaotic calamity finger was gradually approaching 70%. It was so powerful that it was comparable to 90% of a divine ability with a normal law as its core. But the Golden Crow Crown Prince's divine ability was only 80%. Die. Lu Ming charged toward the Golden Crow Crown Prince and kept pointing his finger. Several chaotic calamity fingers formed at the same time and attacked the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Crown Prince unleashed his full power. Flames filled the sky, forming suns that attacked Lu Ming. The battle platform was filled with the power of the Great Sun Divine Fire and the Law of Primal Chaos. Seal. Lu Ming used the chaotic calamity finger with his right hand and used the Law of Array Dao with his left hand. Countless runes appeared and formed a terrifying sealing power. It directly passed through the Golden Crow Crown Prince's Great Sun Divine Fire and covered his entire body. The sealing power was going to seal the Golden Crow Crown Prince. This scene also shocked the other spectators. 2 laws. How can this person control 2 laws? One is the strongest law and the other is the Law of Kings. Unbelievable. The spectators were all geniuses from all over the world. They had seen many things, but they had never seen someone like Lu Ming. They couldn't suppress the excitement in their hearts. Some of them even shouted, "Oh no!" The Golden Crow's second crown prince, Lang, and the others were shocked. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was at a disadvantage. At this moment, the Golden Crow Crown Prince himself was also shaken and revealed a look of shock. Lu Ming's combat power was far beyond his imagination. Break! The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared. A pair of wings appeared behind him. They shone brightly. As he flapped them, they were like a heavenly blade that slashed and destroyed the Law of Array Dao that covered his body. Then, endless flames spread out and destroyed Lu Ming's chaotic calamity finger. Whoosh! Chapter 1876. It's an imperial weapon. Despicable. How dare you use an imperial weapon in a fair fight? Huang Ling shouted. Despicable? This is the life and death fighting ring. There's no rule against using an imperial weapon. An imperial weapon is also a form of power. Lang sneered as a smile appeared on his face. The Golden Crow Crown Prince had an imperial weapon. Even if he could not unleash the weapon's full power, it was more than enough to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I've said it before. Today is the day you die. Die. The Golden Crow Crown Prince said coldly. He had regained his arrogant look. He flapped his golden wings and charged toward Lu Ming. The imperial weapon's power was earth-shattering. Do you think you're the only one who has an imperial weapon? Lu Ming said calmly. His glabella shone, and the Tai Chi formation plate flew out. It expanded rapidly, and a Tai Chi pattern appeared on it. It charged toward the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Tai Chi formation plate was definitely a treasure on the same level as an imperial weapon. As Lu Ming's cultivation increased, the power he could unleash became stronger and more mystical. The Golden Crow Crown Prince attacked with his wings, but they were all blocked by the Tai Chi formation plate. Swoosh! Swoosh! Lu Ming took the opportunity to attack. He pointed a few chaotic fingers at the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Prince narrowed his eyes and his sacred power erupted. The pair of golden wings emitted a dazzling golden light and flew out from his body. It transformed into a huge, 3-legged golden crow. As it flapped its wings, raging flames spread and annihilated Lu Ming's chaotic finger of calamity. Suppress. Lu Ming's mind stirred. The Taiji Array disc seized the opportunity to suppress the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow that was an imperial weapon let out a long cry and charged toward the Tai Chi formation plate. It slammed into the Tai Chi formation plate, causing it to vibrate and fly away. Then, the Golden Crow flapped its wings and charged toward Lu Ming. Die! The Golden Crow Crown Prince smiled ferociously. Lu Ming stood motionlessly on the battle stage. His face was calm as if he didn't see the incoming monarch weapon. When the Imperial Armament's Golden Crow approached Lu Ming, a pill furnace appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Great Derivation Pill Furnace. The Great Development Cauldron quickly expanded to the size of a mountain. When the cauldron lid opened, it exploded with an astonishing attractive force. Come in. Lu Ming grabbed one of the legs of the Great Evolution Alchemy Cauldron and scooped up the other party's Emperor weapon into the Great Evolution Alchemy Cauldron. He then quickly closed the lid. He didn't know what grade the Great Pill Derivation Furnace was, but the pair of wings couldn't charge out. Give me back my Imperial weapon. The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared. You're still thinking about the Imperial weapon? Worry about yourself. Kill. Lu Ming shouted and used the divine sword art. Two sword beams shot out from his eyes and rushed into the Golden Crow Crown Prince's body. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's body trembled. Then, the Tai Chi formation came down and a Tai Chi pattern covered the Golden Crow Crown Prince. Lu Ming went berserk. He raised the Great Development Cauldron and smashed it toward the Golden Crow Crown Prince. Lu Ming's attack was like a storm. The Golden Crow Crown Prince couldn't block it at all and was hit on the head by the Great Development Cauldron. With a loud thud, the Golden Crow Crown Prince was knocked dizzy. His head almost cracked open and his body crashed heavily onto the battle stage. Swoosh, swoosh. The Tai Chi pattern turned into a yin-yang fish sword and pierced the Golden Crow Crown Prince's wings, causing him to scream in pain. Dong! Lu Ming raised the Great Development Cauldron and smashed it on the Golden Crow Crown Prince's head again. This time, the Golden Crow Crown Prince was severely injured. His head cracked open and blood flowed out. The divine sun fire that covered his body was extinguished and he was on the verge of death. Lu Ming put away the Tai Chi formation and the Great Development Cauldron and stepped on the Golden Crow Crown Prince's head. Stop, Lu Ming. My brother is the top prodigy of the Golden Crow clan. If you kill him, the Golden Crow clan won't let you go. The second Golden Crow Crown Prince shouted, and the Feng clan won't let you go either. Mo Lang shouted as well. Haha, do you think there's any room for reconciliation between the Golden Crow clan and me? Lu Ming looked disdainful. He had killed several Golden Crow Crown Princes. The two sides were mortal enemies. How could there be reconciliation? If he didn't kill the Golden Crow Crown Prince, would the Golden Crow clan let him go? As for the Feng clan, Lu Ming looked at Mo Lang and said, if the Feng clan wants to fight, I, Lu Ming, will accept it. As for the Golden Crow Crown Prince, since he stepped onto the battle stage, he will die if he loses. An absolute saint weapon appeared in Lu Ming's hand. He stabbed at the Golden Crow Crown Prince's head. Poof! Blood splattered everywhere. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's head was pierced by Lu Ming. At the same time, his soul was destroyed. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was dead. What powerful combat strength! This person's combat strength is too amazing. The Son of Chaos who controls the law of chaos is indeed amazing. He must be the third person in the Origin Mountain Sacred Academy to control the strongest law. It's a pity that his cultivation is too weak. It's difficult for him to compete with the strongest prodigies. However, if he grows up, he will be extremely terrifying. Some people around discussed excitedly. Yet another Elysian child had appeared. This was truly a golden age. Not only were the kings fighting for supremacy, but the sons of chaos were also fighting for supremacy. The second Golden Crow Crown Prince and the others had ugly expressions, especially those from the Golden Crow clan. They revealed a terrifying murderous intent. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was dead. The strongest prodigy of the Golden Crow clan was killed by Lu Ming just like that. If the elders of the Golden Crow clan knew about it, they would be furious. Lu Ming, give me my brother's body. The second Golden Crow Crown Prince said coldly. Give it to you? How can you be so naive? This is my trophy. Lu Ming smiled and said, besides, didn't you see that my friends are very interested in the Golden Crow meat? You. How dare you? The second Golden Crow Crown Prince trembled with anger and glared at Lu Ming. Why wouldn't I dare? It's not like I haven't done it before. Lu Ming smiled and waved his hand to put away the Golden Crow Crown Prince's body. He then looked at the second Golden Crow Crown Prince and scolded. Why aren't you leaving? Do you want to fight too? I'll take it. Just you wait. Feng Wuchen is cultivating in seclusion in the Saint Battlefield. When he comes out, it'll be the time of your death. The second prince of the Golden Crow was enraged, but he did not dare to fight with Lu Ming. After leaving behind a few harsh words, He left with Mo Lang and the rest. Brother Lu Ming, you're so powerful. There's golden crow meat to eat. Bubbles dashed onto Lu Ming's shoulder, shouting and screaming excitedly. Let's go back and eat the golden crow meat. Lu Ming smiled and returned to the mountain they resided in with the rest. Not long after, a fragrance wafted out of the mountain and spread for 5 kilometers. That night, an entire golden crow entered everyone's stomachs, especially the 9 desolate race elites. They ate until their mouths were filled with oil. Even the bones were devoured by the 9 desolate race youths. Chapter 1877. The first day of Lu Ming and the others' arrival at Yuan Mountain Academy ended just like that. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, they casually chose a few courtyards to stay in. Anyway, the area here was vast and empty. There were plenty of empty courtyards. The next day, Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others brought Lu Ming and the others to wander around Yuan Mountain Academy. The Origin Mountain Sacred Courtyard was built by several great monarchs and other monarch experts over the course of several years. There are many wonderful places that are of great help to one's cultivation. As the group walked, Huang Ling introduced. Indeed, in the past few months, many people have entered Yuan Mountain Academy, and with the help of the resources here, their cultivation has improved. So have we. Longchen also said. How many geniuses have entered Yuan Mountain Academy? Lu Ming asked curiously. It's beyond our imagination. Huang Ling's face was solemn and said, the requirement to enter Yuan Mountain Academy is to reach Bright Saint Realm and have a low-grade heavenly spirit body. This time, the 9 great holy lands, various emperor-level forces, and some ancient clans have appeared. There are more than 10,000 people. More than 10,000 people. Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. He was very shocked. There were more than 10,000 people who met the requirement. How amazing was that? These people all had the potential to become great emperors. Even if they only had the potential, it was impossible for so many of them to become great emperors. That was already very shocking. There were so many people in a generation. There were many emperor-level powerhouses in Yuan Mountain, but they were all accumulated over countless years. If there were thousands of great emperors in a generation, how terrifying would that be? Lu Ming finally understood what a golden age was. That is, at this time, Lu Ming saw a stone tablet that soared into the sky. It was as high as the mountain. Even if it was far away, it could be seen at a glance. That's the King's Sage Board. Let's go and take a look, Huang Ling said. Everyone moved forward and appeared under the huge stone tablet. There were names on the stone tablet, emitting golden light. At a glance, there were more than 40 names. The King's Sage Board represents the strongest group of Saint Realm cultivators in Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. However, those who want to be on the board have to be at least Saint Realm. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was at the bottom of the list and he has disappeared. Huang Ling explained. It said that only 100 people can be on the King's Sage Board. However, since most of the people aren't absolute saints yet, there are only 42 of them. Longchen added. Lu Ming understood. It seemed like there were only 42 people who had reached the Paragon Saint Realm in the Yuanshan Holy Academy. If everyone's cultivation base increased in the future, there would be more than 100 people who reached the Paragon Saint Realm. The Sage King Board would only show the strongest 100 people. Eternal Galaxy. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the 42 names. The name at the top of the list was the most eye-catching. It was called Stellar River. Heng Xinghe. This person is extremely terrifying. He is one of the sons of the heavens. He was born with an eternal body and has mastered one of the 10 strongest laws, the eternal law. It is said that this person is a descendant of the Celestial Emperor and has the Celestial Emperor's bloodline in him. Huang Ling spoke. When she spoke about this person, her expression became serious and fearful. The descendant of the Celestial Emperor? The Celestial Emperor who founded the Celestial City? Lu Ming asked. That's right. Although the Celestial Emperor has fallen, he has left behind descendants. They are one of the strongest forces in the Celestial City. Huang Ling nodded. Then, Lu Ming continued to look at the names. Luo Tsangqiang, number 10. A ray of cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Luo Tsangqiang, the #1 genius of the Daluo Heaven sect, had taken away the memories of Autumn Moon. Lu Ming would fight with this person sooner or later. Deathblade, is he only number 12? Lu Ming whispered. Deathblade was one of the 6 silver inheritors of the Hunyuan sect. He mastered the death law and was the son of death. This was one of the 10 strongest laws. He was one of the sons of the heavens, just like Eternal Galaxy. However, there was a huge difference between their rankings. Deathblade's cultivation base is weaker, so his ranking is not high. Huang Ling explained. Then, Lu Ming saw a familiar face. Luo Tianyi, who was number 36. Is this ranking accurate? What is the basis for it? Lu Ming asked. When the Saint Academy of Yuan Mountain was first opened, all the geniuses entered at the same time. No one was willing to give in to the others. Naturally, there were many battles. Many geniuses clashed with each other. The teachers of the Saint Academy based the rankings on those battles. Huang Ling said, "Isn't this inaccurate?" Lu Ming asked. Yes, because some people are more low-key and did not use their full strength. Some people did not even make a move. Therefore, this King Sage board is not very accurate for the time being. Those who are ranked at the bottom may have amazing combat power. No one can say for sure. I guess it will be rearranged in the future. Also, after these few months of battles, the strongest geniuses have entered the holy battlefield to cultivate in seclusion. They are striving to break through and defeat the other geniuses. Huang Ling said, "There are so many geniuses. That's great." Haha. Wang Li was excited. The other members of the desolate tribe were the same. Their eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Lu Ming memorized the dozens of names on the King Sage board. Then, the group walked to the other side. Following that, Lu Ming saw many wonderful places. Many of them were helpful for cultivation. For example, there was a place called the Divine Powers Purgatory Valley. Inside, there were powerful challenges that allowed one to cultivate divine powers. However, one had to pay a certain amount of origin stones to enter these places. This was because maintaining these cultivation grounds required a large amount of energy. Although the great emperors had created them, they did not have enough resources to maintain these places. Naturally, they had to collect the corresponding amount of origin stones. I will cultivate here. You are free to choose where you want to cultivate. Lu Ming said to the desolate tribe members. Only by choosing the most suitable cultivation ground would it be of the greatest help. I will cultivate here with Brother Lu Ming. Bubbles said. Divine Powers Purgatory Valley. We have been here for some time. Let's go to other places to cultivate. Huang Ling said. I want to go to the Divine Powers Valley. Huang Li revealed a look of anticipation. Following that, everyone separated and chose their own places to cultivate. As for Lu Ming and Bubbles, they walked towards the Divine Powers Purgatory Valley. The Divine Powers Purgatory Valley was a vast and huge valley. It was pitch black inside, and nothing could be seen. It was as if it led to the abyss of purgatory. There was a mysterious array set up here. It could accommodate many people to cultivate inside. At the entrance of the valley, there were naturally people guarding it. Before entering, one had to apply for a jade token to enter the valley and deposit some origin stones inside. Then, for every day one cultivated inside, the jade token would deduct a day's worth of origin stones. If a person cultivated inside for too long, the origin stones they had deposited beforehand would be deducted. When they came out, they would have to make up for it. Chapter 1878. As soon as Lu Ming stepped into the valley, his surroundings changed. He found that he had arrived in a desolate valley. It was pitch black, and there was no one around. Even Bubble was not by his side. Suddenly, a few figures appeared in front of him. They were blurry, and he could not see their faces clearly. Whoosh! Whoosh! These few figures pounced on Lu Ming one after another. They were as fast as lightning. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. The law of primal chaos spread throughout his body. He circulated the suppressing Hell Heaven skill and punched out continuously. The figures also blasted out various attacks. They were either punches, palm strikes, or finger strikes. However, they all had one thing in common. They were all using the law of primal chaos. Bam! Bam! After a series of collisions, the figures were sent flying by Lu Ming. They really can use the law of primal chaos. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with surprise. He had heard Huangling, Long Chun, and the others mentioned before that this divine ability, Purgatory Valley, was extremely mysterious. The figures condensed inside could use the same laws as those who entered. Furthermore, the deeper they went into the valley, the stronger the people who used the laws would be. Bam! Lu Ming took a step forward and charged at the figures. He increased his strength. After a series of explosions, the figures were defeated by Lu Ming. Although these figures could use the law of primal chaos, their power was very weak. They were far inferior to Lu Ming. Naturally, they could not withstand a single blow. After defeating a few figures, Lu Ming stepped forward. Not long after, a few more figures appeared. These figures could still use the law of primal chaos. They were stronger than the previous figures. However, they were still far inferior to Lu Ming. They were still defeated by Lu Ming in a few moves. Lu Ming continued forward. Just like that, Lu Ming defeated dozens of figures. The figures he encountered became stronger and stronger. The power of the law of primal chaos was getting closer and closer to Lu Ming's. They could even use the primal chaos finger like Lu Ming. Lu Ming finally felt the pressure. He circulated the law of primal chaos with all his might to fight the other party. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A total of 3 figures pointed their fingers at the same time. 3 huge fingers charged toward Lu Ming from 3 different directions. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and focused his mind. His figure flickered, and at the moment when his figure flickered, he pointed out 3 fingers at an extremely fast speed. Similarly, 3 huge fingers formed and pointed at the other party. The 6 huge fingers collided with each other and then froze in the air. However, in the end, it was still Lu Ming who came out on top. His opponent's Chaos Tribulation finger was destroyed, and his body was also destroyed by Lu Ming. The power of the Chaotic Calamity finger is very close to mine. If they were any stronger, it would not be so easy for me to win. However, this is good. It will help me improve. Lu Ming pondered for a moment, then stepped forward again. Not long after, another figure appeared and attacked Lu Ming. This time, the figure's mastery of the law of primal chaos was no weaker than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming engaged in an intense battle with the 3 figures. The law of primal chaos permeated the air and clashed continuously. It was extremely rare to clash with the same law. This way, he could better see his own shortcomings and improve himself. One could imagine that the great emperors must have spent a lot of effort to create such a place. This time, the battle lasted for half an hour before Lu Ming defeated the 3 figures. My Chaotic Calamity finger is close to 70%. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Previously, Lu Ming's Chaotic Calamity finger was about 69%. Now, it was close to 70%. If he cultivated like this, it would not be long before he was close to 70%. Lu Ming continued to move forward. This time, the figure that appeared was even more powerful. After fighting Lu Ming for more than an hour, Lu Ming still could not defeat his opponent. In the end, his saint power ran out and he could only retreat. As long as Lu Ming retreated, the figures would not pursue him. When Lu Ming's saint power recovered, he continued to fight. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. A few figures were fighting fiercely. Whoosh, whoosh. Lu Ming continued to unleash the Chaotic Calamity finger. The power of the Chaotic Calamity finger suddenly skyrocketed. The Chaos Tribulation finger that the 3 figures had unleashed was instantly defeated by Lu Ming. The terrifying force blasted the 3 figures into smithereens. Chaotic Calamity finger, 70%? Lu Ming whispered and smiled faintly. In just 2 short days of cultivating here, Lu Ming's Chaotic Calamity finger had broken through. The difference between 69% and 70% seemed small, but the difference in power was huge. Once it broke through to 70%, it would be on another level. For an ordinary martial artist, breaking through to 70% in a divine power would require at least a saint realm cultivation base. Moreover, the Chaotic Calamity finger was even more difficult to cultivate. Of course, for a prodigy, all rules were meant to be broken. This was a great place. No wonder all the prodigies of the entire Primordial Mountain would gather at the Primordial Mountain Saint Court. A cultivation sanctuary created by a few great emperors was indeed extraordinary. Moreover, there were great emperors preaching and clashes between prodigies. In this way, the cultivation speed of these prodigies would definitely increase, and they would be able to force out their potential and advance to a higher realm. Continue. Lu Ming was excited and continued to move forward. Next, Lu Ming had been cultivating in the Divine Power Purgatory Valley. Time passed day by day, and in the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. Lu Ming cultivated tirelessly, forgetting to eat and sleep. The chaotic calamity finger's progress was extremely fast. In less than 2 months, the chaotic calamity finger had reached 80%. One should know that the higher the level of a divine power, the more difficult it was to improve. The closer it was to the perfect stage, every improvement was extremely difficult. In less than 2 months, he was able to raise it to 80%. This speed was already very terrifying. If he were to cultivate normally, he might not be able to achieve it even after a few years. Moreover, in the continuous battle with those figures, Lu Ming's saint power was constantly being condensed and strengthened. It was rapidly approaching the great sage perfected realm. On this day, after Lu Ming fought with 3 figures, he felt the saint power in his body surging like a flood, and the speed was unbelievably fast. I'm going to break through. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After nearly 2 months of continuous battles, his cultivation had finally reached a tipping point, and he was about to break through to the great saint perfection. Lu Ming retreated and sat cross-legged. He took out a large pile of origin stones and began to break through to the great saint perfection. In a luxurious courtyard in the primordial mountain saint court, the Golden Crow second prince, Mo Lang, and the others were standing respectfully in front of a green-robed youth. The Golden Crow crown prince is dead? Hee, how dare you? The green-robed youth spoke. His voice was gentle, but anyone could hear the cold killing intent in it. Mo Lang, the Golden Crow second prince, and the others could not help but tremble. This person was the peerless prodigy of the Feng clan, Feng Wuchen. Chapter 1879. Young Master Wuchen, it's all Lu Ming's fault. Otherwise, we would have taken down Huang Ling, Long Qian, and the others. Mo Lang said respectfully. Oh, I've heard of Lu Ming. He stirred up a storm in the ancient moon's sacred ground some time ago. It's a pity that the Wind clan hadn't appeared yet. Otherwise, we would have suppressed him long ago. Feng Wuchen sneered and said, Young Master Wuchen, we also mentioned your name, but Lu Ming didn't give us any face at all. He even said that if you're unhappy, you can look for him directly. The Golden Crow second prince added, Arrogant and ignorant. You're courting death. Beside Feng Wuchen, another young man in a green robe said coldly. He was also a sky pride of the Wind clan, but he wasn't as strong as Feng Wuchen. You want me to look for him? Hee, fine. I'll go look for him. From now on, those people don't have to stay in the Origin Mountain Sacred Court. Feng Wuchen said indifferently. With his hands behind his back, he took a step forward and headed outside. The other sky prides of the Wind clan, Mo Lang, the Golden Crow second prince, and the others followed. On the mountain where Lu Ming and the others lived, 2 figures were fighting fiercely in a spacious area, erupting with terrifying energy waves. These 2 people were Long Qian and Huang Li. After 2 months of cultivation, Long Qian's cultivation had finally reached the Great Sage Great Perfection. As soon as he reached the Great Sage Great Perfection, Huang Li found him. The 2 of them had nothing to say and started fighting fiercely. Their battle was very similar. It was direct, brutal, and domineering. It was like a battle between 2 ancient beasts. Roar! Long Qian's arms swelled up several times as he activated the law of force to the extreme. Both of his fists punched out continuously. Every time he punched out, a giant elephant would soar into the sky and crush Huang Li. Huang Li's muscles bulged, and his eyes shone with a wild radiance. He roared and punched out continuously. Every punch would destroy a giant elephant. The 2 of them exchanged hundreds of blows before retreating to the side. They stared at each other like 2 savage beasts. Ha ha ha, this is great. How about we fight another day? Huang Li suddenly laughed. That's what I want. Let's fight another day. Long Chen's fighting spirit was not weak at all. They looked at each other with a feeling of mutual appreciation and regret that they hadn't met earlier. The two of them grasped the same laws and fought against each other. It would be a great boost to both of them, and they would be able to better find their own shortcomings. As for the Purgatory Valley, although one could condense a figure with the same laws as oneself after entering, it was still condensed from a large array after all. There was still a huge gap between it and a true genius, a real person. Real people had their own thoughts. They were able to comprehend and see through weaknesses. Naturally, the results would be better when they fought against each other. The two of them stopped fighting and sat down cross-legged, absorbing the origin stones to recover their true essence. Not long after, the two opened their eyes at the same time and looked in the same direction. In that direction, a terrifying tornado with the power of destruction swept towards the mountain peak where they lived. "Who is it? Block it!" Long Chun and Huangli roared at the same time. Their bodies soared into the sky and rushed towards the tornado. Both of their fists punched out continuously. Streaks of terrifying fist force blasted towards the tornado. After dozens of consecutive fist forces, the tornado was finally blocked. The two of them looked gloomy. The other party was too bold to attack them directly at their residence and wanted to destroy their courtyard. This was a slap in the face and a humiliation. In the distance, a youth in a green robe with his hands behind his back flew over. It was Feng Wuchen. Two people with the power regal body. It's really rare. Feng Wuchen looked at Long Chun and Huang Li in amazement. "Feng Wuchen," Long Chun said with a serious expression. "This guy is Feng Wuchen. He's so pretentious. I'll beat him until he cries." Huang Li grinned, his eyes fierce. At this moment, other figures flew up from the mountain peak and came behind Huang Li and Long Chen. A few of them were the Desolate Race's geniuses, while the others were the geniuses of the Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and Thunder God Sect. At the same time, the other geniuses of the Feng race, as well as Imo Lang, the Golden Crow Second Prince, and the others, arrived and stood behind Feng Wuchen. Both sides were ready to fight. Powerful auras clashed in the air. The fluctuations here naturally alarmed the geniuses of the other mountain peaks. Many figures stood in the void and watched from afar. "It's Feng Wuchen. Feng Wuchen has come out of seclusion. I knew it. Once Feng Wuchen comes out, he will definitely make a move. He won't let Long Chun and the others off easily. I wonder how they will deal with Feng Wuchen. Looks like there will be another intense battle." Many people spoke, looking forward to it. Previously, Lu Ming had killed the Golden Crow Crown Prince. How would Feng Wuchen treat Lu Ming and the others? Feng Wuchen smiled faintly and said, "The two of you are rare talents. Join me and work for me. I will make you my right-hand men. I won't treat you badly." He still wanted to subdue Huangli and Long Chun. If he had the help of two people with the regal body, he would definitely have a place in the Origin Mountain Sacred Court. "Work for you? You should take a piss and look at yourself. Who do you think you are?" Huang Li cursed out loud. "You only know how to suppress others with your cultivation level. You want us to join you? What a joke." Long Chun sneered. They were both people with the regal body. Why would they join Feng Wuchen? Did Feng Wuchen have the right to do that? Feng Wuchen's cultivation level was only slightly higher. As long as they broke through and caught up to Feng Wuchen, they wouldn't be afraid of him at all. "Stubborn. I want to see what right you have to be so arrogant in front of me." Feng Wuchen's face darkened. He stepped forward, and the wind howled. Endless destructive wind appeared out of nowhere and wreaked havoc. Every gust of wind was like a terrifying destructive divine weapon, slicing through the space, causing hideous scars to appear in the space. Feng Wuchen also had the regal body. He controlled the destructive wind law and was a lesser absolute saint. Although his cultivation level was the same as the Golden Crow Crown Prince's, his combat power was much stronger than the Crown Prince's. Long Chun and Huang Li both looked solemn. The sacred power in their bodies circulated crazily. They used the extreme force law with all their might. They were like two wild beasts, ready to attack at any time. "Destroy!" Feng Wuchen pressed down with one hand, and a terrifying destructive wind swept toward Long Chun and Huang Li. Boom! Boom! Long Chun and Huang Li attacked at the same time. They punched continuously, and the sky shook. The air was compressed together, forming a terrifying force that blasted toward the destructive wind. The sky kept exploding, and dozens of explosions sounded. Long Chun and Huang Li's bodies shook, and they retreated. Not bad. You managed to block one of my attacks. Continue. Feng Wuchen's body was wrapped in the wind. He continued to step forward. With every step he took, the wind became more violent. It swept across the sky, and the clouds in the sky were swept away by the wind. Chapter 1880. Mighty Divine Statue Fist. An elephant's roar resounded through the sky. Long Chen's Saint Force surged as he punched out. A huge primordial dragon-esque elephant appeared. It roared into the sky and charged forward. Mighty Star Fist. Huang Li punched out as well. A star appeared on his fist. It was as if he was pushing the star towards the tornadoes. Both of their fists were filled with boundless power. They could break through anything and break through the sky. The huge elephant and star collided with the two tornadoes. There was an earth-shattering boom. Finally, the two tornadoes were blocked and dissipated in the sky. Feng Wuchen's face darkened as his two attacks were blocked. He was an absolute saint. It would be embarrassing if he couldn't take down two supreme saints easily. Destructive storm blades. Feng Wuchen roared. Countless blades appeared around him. They were incomparably sharp and contained destructive power. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Destructive storm blades charged towards Long Chun and Desolate Force. Long Chun and Huang Li tried their best to block, but their cultivation levels were too low. They were in danger. Then leave these people to us. A Wind Tribe genius stared at Phoenix Palace. The others from the Divine Elephant sect stepped out towards them. Mo Lang, the Golden Crow Second Prince, and the others followed and launched terrifying attacks. Spread the news. Gather everyone and defend. A Phoenix Palace genius shouted. Everyone used their voice transmission jade talismans to spread the news. Then, they started to defend. Some of them were still cultivating in the Sacred Institute and weren't here. They were few in number, so they could only defend. A few youths from the Desolate race stepped forward and stood in front of the crowd. They swung their huge axes and maces, sending a few geniuses flying. They're so strong. A few of them have superior heaven spiritual bodies. These people are burly and different from ordinary people. Where are they from? Mo Lang exchanged a blow with a Desolate race youth and was sent flying. His body was numb, and he felt a sharp pain in his arm. His bones were almost broken. They might be from the Desolate race, one of the ancient races. A Wind Tribe genius said. As an ancient race, they naturally knew about the Desolate race. Ancient race. Mo Lang and the others gasped. The ancient race had been passed down since ancient times. They had terrifying secret techniques and had unfathomable heritage. None of the ancient races could be underestimated. Leave these Desolate race youths to us. You guys deal with the others. The elite from the Feng clan spoke as a terrifying gust of wind emanated from his body. He charged towards the youth from the Desolate race. Mo Lang and the others attacked the others. Although killing was forbidden in the Sacred Institute, it was fine as long as they weren't crippled or killed. They were going to beat these stubborn people from Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant sect half to death, and then throw them out of the Origin Mountain Holy Court. The Desolate race, Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant sect, Thunder God sect, and other sects had fewer people. They were momentarily at a disadvantage, with some of them injured. As for Long Chen and Huang Li, they did not have it easy either. They were at a disadvantage, and they were forced to retreat. If it weren't for the fact that both of them cultivated the law of force, and that their spirit bodies were known for their strength, which meant that their defensive capabilities were equally strong, they would have already been defeated. But even so, they couldn't hold on for long. Just as they were in danger, a figure flew over from afar. Before the person arrived, a cold and hot aura burst out. Two scimitars spun rapidly, forming a terrifying destructive force that pressed down on Feng Wuchen. Autumn Moon had arrived. Yin Yang laws. Feng Wuchen's eyes narrowed. He waved his hand and destructive storm blades slashed at Autumn Moon. They collided with Autumn Moon's two scimitars, causing sparks to fly. Kill! Kill! Long Chun and Huang Li seized the opportunity and launched a fierce attack. They destroyed dozens of destructive storm blades in succession. Their fist force was like a rainbow piercing through the sun as it blasted towards Feng Wuchen. "You want to fight back? You're still far from it," Feng Wuchen said coldly. He opened his mouth and blew out an endless gust of wind, shattering Long Qin and Huang. Autumn Moon, Long Chun, and Huang. Huang joined forces and engaged in a fierce battle with Feng Wuchen. 3 perfect Supreme Saints. It's amazing. But even if the 3 of them join forces, they might not be able to fight Feng Wuchen. That's right. If there's one more person, they might be able to fight. I wonder if Huang Ling has broken through to the perfect Supreme Saint. The crowd in the distance discussed. Swoosh, swoosh. At that moment, figures flew over from afar. They were people from Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and the Desolate Race. They had received the message and rushed over. "Take my hammer." Huang Di waved his 2 giant hammers and rushed over from afar. The hammers were like a whirlwind, smashing at the Golden Crow's second prince. The powerful pressure from the hammers shocked the Golden Crow's second prince. He used his great sun divine flame to resist. But when the hammers fell, the Golden Crow's second prince screamed. His wings exploded, and his body was sent flying. He was severely injured. Although the Golden Crow's second prince was a perfect Supreme Saint, his spirit body was only a mid-grade heaven spirit body. He was no match for Huang Di and was severely injured. As the elites from the Desolate Race, Phoenix Palace, and other sects rushed back, they finally stabilized the situation. But they were still at a disadvantage. After all, the other party had elites from the Feng clan. In addition to Sky Wolf Pagoda, One Family, and the Golden Crow clan, there were at least a dozen elites from the Ancient Moon Sacred Land who had submitted to the Feng clan. With so many elites gathered together, there were too many of them. The Desolate Race, Phoenix Palace, and other sects could only defend and could not counterattack. And as time passed, more and more people were injured. At that moment, a phoenix's cry resounded through the sky. A flaming phoenix flew over rapidly, enveloping the elites from Sky Wolf Pagoda and the Golden Crow clan. "It's the undying flame," someone exclaimed. Bam, bam. The flaming phoenix's cry caused the undying flame laws to circulate. One by one, the young elites were sent flying, vomiting blood. Some of the weaker ones were severely injured and could no longer fight. "It's Huang Ling, damn it. She has also broken through to the perfect Supreme Saint realm," Mo Lang roared. In the next moment, an undying flame shot towards Ink Wolf, sending him flying and spitting out blood. Huang Ling had broken through to the perfect Supreme Saint realm. She was almost invincible among those of the same level. Even though the Feng clan had a few elites with high-grade heaven spirit bodies, they were no match for her. They were suppressed by Huang Ling and were eventually injured by her. Their combat strength was greatly reduced. With Huang Ling's addition, they immediately stabilized the situation and gained the upper hand. "Huang Ling, go help Long Chun and the rest. We can hold them off," Mu Qingxue shouted. Huang Ling had injured the strongest elites of the other party. The other party's combat strength was greatly reduced. On their side, they had the Desolate Race's experts working together, so they had no problem protecting themselves. "All right, be careful." Chapter 1881. Huang Ling had the immortal heavenly phoenix body and could control the immortal fire law. Her vitality was extremely strong. She seemed to have turned into the immortal fire and rushed towards Feng Wuchen. She was not afraid of the destructive wind and blocked it. Autumn Moon, Long Chun, and Desolate Force seized the opportunity to attack. Feng Wuchen was pushed back a few thousand meters. "Don't think that you can win by outnumbering me," Feng Wuchen roared. His body turned transparent as if he was going to turn into a gust of wind. The gust of wind grew stronger and more intense. Tornadoes formed around Feng Wuchen. Other than that, there were also destructive wind blades. The destructive attack swept towards Long Chun and the rest. "I'll block it. You guys attack." "Immortal Cage," Huang Ling shouted. Endless flames spread out and turned into a huge flaming cage. It blocked the destructive wind and blocked it. Long Chun and Desolate Force stepped forward and appeared beside Huang Ling to protect her. At the same time, they attacked Feng Wuchen fiercely. Autumn Moon stood behind Huang Ling and the rest. He did not have to worry about his own defense and attacked with all his might. Autumn Moon attacked with all his might. His attack power was terrifying. The two scimitars were supported by the yin and yang law and had shocking destructive power. They kept attacking Feng Wuchen. The area seemed to be about to explode. The others were far away from the battlefield. The Battle of the Five Kings. 4 great sage, complete realm king bodies were fighting against a lesser absolute saint king body. This was a rare sight to behold. At that moment, more and more people were watching the battle from afar. Even many powerful geniuses who were in seclusion had appeared. A group of people in white robes was very eye-catching. Among them, there was a beautiful lady who attracted the attention of many. If Lu Ming was here, he would be shocked. That lady was Xian Yinjuan. It's the ancient sacred tribe. Who is that lady? She's so beautiful. I heard that she's a terrifying genius from the ancient sacred tribe. She's very powerful. Many people looked at Xian Yinjuan and the rest and discussed secretly. But soon, everyone's attention was focused on the battle in front of them. For peak Great Saint Monarch physiques, it's really amazing. If they all break through to Absolute Saint Realm, I'm afraid they will stir up a storm in Yuan Mountain Holy Courtyard. How strange. King physiques have always been arrogant and solitary. Why would these 4 king physiques gather together and fight against Feng Wuchen? I think it's because of someone called Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you guys have been in seclusion all this time, so you don't know. This Lu Ming just joined the Origin Mountain Academy not long ago. He is a son of chaos. What? Son of chaos? Some people exclaimed. They didn't expect another son of chaos to appear in Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. No wonder so many king bodies had gathered together. If it was because of the son of chaos, then it wouldn't be strange. Lu Ming? Xian Yinjuan murmured as a strange light flickered in her eyes. At this time, Long Chen and the other 3 joined forces to fight against Feng Wuchen and finally turn the tables. However, Feng Wuchen's cultivation was at Absolute Saint Realm, so it was almost impossible for them to win. But with the 4 of them working together, it would be difficult for Feng Wuchen to win. The battle was very fierce, but the 2 sides were evenly matched. Hee, it's really intense. At this time, a cold laugh was heard as 2 young men came together. It's them, Luo Pokong and Kong Lang. Seeing these 2 people, many people's faces changed drastically. Why are the 2 of them together? Many people's faces were solemn. This was because Luo Pokong and Kong Lang both had king physiques, and they had both broken through to Absolute Saint Realm not long ago. 2 Absolute Saint Realm king physiques came together. It's that bitch. Luo Pokong looked directly at Autumn Moon, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Back in the ancient sun sacred ground, he was defeated by Lu Ming because of Autumn Moon and lost face. Brother Luo, do you know that woman? Kong Lang laughed. That woman is the woman that my brother, Luo Tsangqiang, likes, but she goes against the Daluo Heaven sect every day. I don't know where she went some time ago, and I didn't expect to see her here. I'll take her down and send her to my brother. Then, Luo Pokong stepped out. The penetrating law flowed around his body, and his body seemed to be able to penetrate the void. His speed was amazing, and in an instant, he appeared not far from Autumn Moon. He stretched out his hand and grabbed out. His 5 fingers were like 5 long spears as they pierced towards Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon's face changed drastically. She didn't expect that someone would suddenly attack her. Luo Pokong, Autumn Moon shouted. She had to use all her strength to take back her 2 scimitars and attack Luo Pokong. But now that Luo Pokong had broken through to Absolute Saint Realm, his battle strength had increased tremendously. With a grab of his fingers, Autumn Moon's 2 scimitars were knocked away. Autumn Moon, leave these people and go to my brother, Luo Tsangqiang. Luo Pokong said coldly. Don't even think about it. No matter who I choose, I won't choose Luo Tsangqiang. Let him give up. Autumn Moon said coldly. Her master had told her that Luo Tsangqiang had taken away a part of her memory in order to get her. She only had hatred for Luo Tsangqiang. You don't know what's good for you. It's your blessing that my brother likes you. Luo Pokong's face sank. He kept pointing his fingers, and a terrifying spear beam pierced through the void and blasted toward Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon quickly retreated and used all her strength to resist, but she was still at a disadvantage and was in imminent danger. Not good. Miss Autumn Moon is in danger. I'll go help her. Huang Li's face changed drastically. Lu Ming was an external elder of the Desolate race. He had done a lot for the Desolate race and had a respected status. And Autumn Moon and Lu Ming had a good relationship. They had gone to the Desolate race together, so Huang Li could not let anything happen to Autumn Moon. His figure flashed and rushed toward Luo Pokong, his fists constantly attacking. You're overestimating yourself. A spear appeared in Luo Pokong's hand. With a shake of the spear, a spear beam pierced out and destroyed Huang Li's fist force, causing Huang Li to retreat quickly. On the other side, Autumn Moon took the opportunity to attack Luo Pokong. However, Luo Pokong's cultivation level was too strong. With a sweep of his spear, he destroyed Autumn Moon's attack. Huang Li took the opportunity to rush to Autumn Moon's side and join forces with Autumn Moon to fight Luo Pokong. However, Luo Pokong also had a king body and his cultivation level was at the Absolute Saint Realm. Although he had just broken through to the Absolute Saint Realm, his combat strength was slightly weaker than Feng Wuchen's, but not by much. Even if Huang Li and Autumn Moon joined forces, they were still no match for him. And on the other side, Huang Ling and Long Chun were completely at a disadvantage. In this battle, because of Luo Pokong's intervention, the situation had changed. In this battle, Huang Ling, Long Chun and company are in trouble. They are no match for two absolute saints with king bodies. That's right, they will probably be seriously injured and thrown out of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Courtyard. They will lose all their face. Some people sighed. Chapter 1882. In the Divine Ability Purgatory Valley, Lu Ming finally broke through the shackles after a period of cultivation. He broke through to the Great Saint Perfection, and his aura skyrocketed. Around him, the origin stones exploded, turning into billowing origin chi that surged into Lu Ming's body and turned into Saint Force. Lu Ming had 2 Saint Hearts in his body. At this time, he had reached the Great Saint Perfection, and his Saint Force was extremely strong. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming's aura was retracted. I've gained a lot from this cultivation. My cultivation has broken through to the Great Saint Perfection, and my chaotic tribulation finger has also reached 80%. It's time to go out. Lu Ming thought to himself. He had killed the Golden Crow Crown Prince last time. If the people of the Feng clan came out of seclusion, he wondered if they would take revenge. Although killing was not allowed in the Saint Court of Yuan Mountain, as long as one did not enter the life and death arena, it would be fine. But Lu Ming was still worried. Lu Ming stepped forward and went to the exit of the Divine Ability Purgatory Valley. He went back very quickly, and there was no obstruction. After a while, Lu Ming exited the Divine Ability Purgatory Valley. It seems that Bubble is still cultivating. Lu Ming smiled slightly, and then his expression changed. The moment he came out, there seemed to be a message from the voice transmission Jade Talisman. Lu Ming took out the voice transmission Jade Talisman and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. His face suddenly changed. It was a message from the people of the Phoenix Palace. Huang Ling and the others were facing a crisis at this moment. In fact, some of the elites of the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant sect had been constantly sending him messages. Previously, he was in the Divine Ability Purgatory Valley and could not send messages, but they did not give up and continued to send messages. Now that Lu Ming came out of seclusion, he naturally received the news. The Feng clan and Luo Pokong. A sharp light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Then, he circulated his Saint Force, and his body cut through the void like a ray of light. At this moment, whether it was Autumn Moon, Huang Li, Huang Ling, or Long Chun, they were all in danger. The 4 of them were no match for Feng Wuchen and Luo Pokong at all. Whoosh! Whoosh! The long spear in Luo Pokong's hand shot out explosively, turning into a spear beam that pierced towards Autumn Moon and Desolate Force's vital points. Every single spear light contained the power of the law of penetration. It was capable of penetrating everything, including other laws. At this moment, there were 2 places on Huang Li's body that had been pierced by the spear radiance. The front and back of the spear radiance were penetrated and fresh blood was flowing out. If not for the desolate race having a special physique that made them extremely strong and resilient, they probably would not have been able to continue fighting. However, he still stood in front of Autumn Moon. The two of them unleashed their full strength and fought with Luo Pokong. Puff. Huangli narrowly avoided a spear light, otherwise, he would have been pierced through again. At this moment, Huang Ling and Long Qin's situation was not much better. Even with Huang Ling's terrifying vitality, her face was still pale. Where is Lu Ming? Where is he hiding? Tell him to come out and fight me. Luo Pokong shouted coldly. Last time, he had been defeated by Lu Ming and lost all his face. This time, he had broken through to the Saint Realm, so he must humiliate Lu Ming. If Lu Ming makes a move, I'm afraid you won't be able to handle him. Huangli grinned. This person was defeated by Lu Ming the last time. Autumn Moon said, "Ha ha ha, so that's the case. So it's someone who was defeated by Lu Ming. You still have the cheek to come here?" Huangli laughed loudly. "Shut up. If Lu Ming dares to appear, I will make him kneel in front of me and beg for mercy. Unfortunately, he has become a tortoise, hiding and not daring to show himself." Luo Pokong sneered. "Are you looking for me?" Suddenly, a cold voice came from afar. Following that, a beam of light flew over from afar at an astonishing speed. In a blink of an eye, it had arrived. The beam of light did not stop as it charged straight at Luo Pokong. Large prison-suppressing monuments appeared and suppressed Luo Pokong. "Lu Ming!" Luo Pokong roared angrily as his spear stabbed out, stabbing at the prison-suppressing monument phantoms. The prison-suppressing monument phantoms exploded and Luo Pokong's body trembled as he retreated a few steps. Swish! The light receded and Lu Ming's figure appeared. "It's Lu Ming." Huang Ling and company's hearts skipped a beat as they revealed looks of joy. Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and the Desolate Race were also delighted. For some reason, whenever they saw Lu Ming descend, their hearts would calm down. It was as if Lu Ming could turn the tide. "Lu Ming, long time no see. I wonder if you can turn the tide under such circumstances?" In the distance, Xian Yinjuan whispered among the ancient sacred tribe. "Is this person the son of chaos?" Some people who had never seen Lu Ming could not help but whisper as they revealed looks of curiosity and anticipation. Could the appearance of the son of chaos change the situation? Autumn Moon, Huangli, go help Huangling and company. Leave this person to me. Lu Ming said. All right. Without hesitation, Autumn Moon and Huangli charged at Feng Wuchen. With the help of Autumn Moon and Huangli, the situation was finally stabilized. Haha, Lu Ming, you came at the right time. Today, I will trample you under my feet and make you suffer all kinds of humiliation. Luo Pokong looked at Lu Ming, his eyes flashing with cold murderous intent. Now that he had broken through to the absolute saint realm, his combat strength had skyrocketed. He was 100% confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. Just now, he had been pushed back a few steps by Lu Ming because he was in a hurry and did not use much of his strength. Loser, since you have already been defeated once, you will never be my match in the future, Lu Ming said coldly, full of strong confidence and the belief that he would not be defeated. This time, the loser is you. Kill. Luo Pokong's spear vibrated as hundreds of spear beams appeared and stabbed at Lu Ming. Insignificant skill. Break it. Lu Ming used the suppressing hell skill and punched out continuously. Many tall suppressing hell steels appeared, suppressing everything. Bam, bam, bam. The spear beams exploded as they were suppressed by the suppressing hell steels, turning into energy and dissipating. Lu Ming took a step forward, breaking through the attack of the spear gleams and charging toward Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong's face darkened. His spear buzzed and stabbed at Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. Clang! A gigantic prison-suppressing steel appeared and clashed with the long spear, colliding heavily. Dong! The suppressing hell steel's phantoms exploded as the spear vibrated. Lu Ming and Luo Pokong's bodies shook at the same time, and they retreated a few steps. Many of the onlookers in the distance were shocked. So strong. He can fight against an absolute saint with a king-type body. someone said in shock. As soon as he attacked, Lu Ming's cultivation was exposed. He was a complete supreme saint. For example, Huang Ling and the others had to join forces with 4 king bodies to resist Feng Wuchen, and Lu Ming could fight with Luo Pokong alone. As expected of the Son of Chaos, his combat strength is terrifying, someone exclaimed. Luo Pokong's face darkened as the murderous intent in his eyes intensified. Kill. The long spear pierced toward Lu Ming at the speed of lightning. The power of penetrating the power of laws was astonishing. Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He stepped forward and attacked with the suppressing hell skill. Chapter 1883. That's all you got after breaking through to the absolute saint realm. What a disappointment. Lu Ming's words were full of sarcasm. Die. Annihilation strike. Luo Pokong roared as he unleashed his most powerful attack with his divine ability. Chaotic Calamity Finger. Lu Ming pointed his finger, and the Chaotic Calamity Finger exploded, clashing with Luo Pokong's long spear. Buzz. The long spear shook violently as if it was under great pressure. Luo Pokong's body shook violently as he retreated. Luo Pokong's superpower was around 85%, and it was the Law of Kings. Its power was already very shocking. Lu Ming's superpower was at 80%, but it was the Law of Chaos. Its power was equivalent to 90% of the Law of Kings. It was still stronger than Luo Pokong's. Your most powerful attack is only Oasa. Suppress. Lu Ming pointed his fingers continuously. The energy between heaven and earth gathered toward Lu Ming's fingers in a frenzy. A few huge fingers formed continuously and pointed toward Luo Pokong. Extreme penetration. Luo Pokong shouted. His body seemed to have arched, and then he shot out, bursting out with astonishing power. His long spear, with the support of the absolute Saint Realm Saint Force, became even more powerful and clashed with Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. After a few explosions, Luo Pokong retreated again. Luo Pokong retreated, while Lu Ming advanced. His right finger kept pointing, using the Chaotic Calamity Finger. On his left hand, the Law of Arrays was activated and endless runes spread out, forming a sealing power that covered Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong kept retreating, not daring to let the sealing power touch him. Luo Pokong is at a disadvantage. Lu Ming's strength is terrifying. The other geniuses were shocked when they saw this. Before, Lu Ming could resist Luo Pokong, which was already shocking. Now, Lu Ming was actually suppressing Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong, didn't you want to trample me under your feet today? Why do you keep retreating? Lu Ming's words were filled with mockery. However, his attacks did not stop at all. Instead, they became even more violent. With the Law of Primal Chaos in his right hand, he unleashed the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. In his left hand, endless runes filled the air, forming a sealing power that was about to seal Luo Pokong. Although Luo Pokong's penetrative power was strong, he was suppressed by the Primal Chaos Finger and could only retreat continuously. He was completely at a disadvantage. Luo Pokong hated Lu Ming to the core. Last time in the ancient Sun Holy Land, in the Soul Holy Palace, he was defeated by Lu Ming with his Great Sage, Great Mastery Cultivation base. He was humiliated by Lu Ming in public. Now, he entered the Yuanshan Academy and broke through to the Saint Realm in one fell swoop. He was full of ambition and wanted to compete with the heroes of the world. He wanted to completely trample Lu Ming under his feet. However, when he encountered Lu Ming, he was still no match for him and was suppressed. He felt a lump of air stuck in his chest, and it was extremely uncomfortable. Wong, Wong. The fingers of Lu Ming's right hand pointed at the void continuously. Afterward, in the sky, an incomparably huge finger was formed. It was as if a god had stretched out a finger from an eternal unknown place and pressed toward Luo Pokong. The scene was extremely shocking. Luo Pokong tried his best to stab out with his spear. A shocking spear light soared into the sky, trying to pierce through the finger, but the result was that the spear light exploded, and Luo Pokong was blasted from the sky and fell to the ground. Boom! Luo Pokong fell to the ground, and the ground exploded, creating a huge pit. Although he stood firm, His face was pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. I said that I can defeat you once, and I can defeat you a second time. You will never be my opponent. When you are defeated by me, you are no longer worthy of being my opponent. Lu Ming stepped forward, looking down at Luo Pokong from above. Luo Pokong's face turned from pale to ashen, and his eyes were full of anger and killing intent. You just have the upper hand for a while, and you dare to say that Brother Luo is not worthy of being your opponent. You are really arrogant. Brother Luo, let me help you. Not far away, Kong Lang said indifferently, and then stepped out. Endless waves appeared around his body. Kong Lang wanted to join forces with Luo Pokong to deal with Lu Ming. All right, let's join forces and severely injure this kid, and then take him out of the Origin Mountain sacred courtyard and cripple him. I want him to live like a dog for the rest of his life. Luo Pokong said. His voice was incomparably cold and filled with endless killing intent. He had been defeated by Lu Ming repeatedly, and his heart had been left with an inner demon. Kong Lang stepped on the waves and moved toward Lu Ming. Kong Lang is really going to make a move. Many people were moved. Kong Lang and Luo Pokong came together, and their relationship was indeed deep. At this moment, Kong Lang wanted to join forces with Luo Pokong. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, it was impossible for him to be a match for Luo Pokong and Kong Lang. It seemed that Lu Ming's side was going to lose this battle. Many people sighed. Lu Ming's side was mainly because their cultivation was too weak. If only one of them had reached the Saint Realm, the situation would not be so passive. Two Saint Realm King bodies teaming up to fight a Supreme Saint. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed? At this time, a crisp voice was heard. The voice was very pleasant, and it was unforgettable after hearing it once. Who is it? Kong Lang shouted, and his eyes swept around. In the distance, a graceful figure walked in the air. It's Luo Tianyi, someone exclaimed, recognizing the person. Lu Ming's mouth also curved into a smile. Luo Tianyi had come. Luo Tianyi walked in the air and walked toward Kong Lang. She said, if you want to fight, I will fight with you. Humph, Luo Tianyi, you are only ranked 36th on the King Sage board. If you want to fight, I will fight with you. After I defeat you, it will not be too late to fight Lu Ming. Kong Lang snorted and walked toward Luo Tianyi. Under his feet, huge waves surged, as if they were going to destroy everything. At this time, Luo Tianyi's eyes turned pitch black, as if they had turned into two abysses. Kong Lang's body suddenly stopped. The huge waves under his feet kept rolling, and his body trembled slightly. Illusion, break! Kong Lang shouted and waved his hands. In an instant, huge waves rose to the sky, as if they were going to break Luo Tianyi's illusion. However, when the huge waves rushed toward Luo Tianyi, they automatically parted, as if they were deliberately avoiding her. After a while, Kong Lang's body trembled, and his face turned red. He spat out a mouthful of blood. At this time, Luo Tianyi's eyes returned to normal. She said calmly, "You are no match for me." You. Kong Lang was shocked. They had only exchanged blows for a short while, and he was already injured. He could not break Luo Tianyi's illusion rules of order. Luo Tianyi gave him an unfathomable feeling. Luo Tianyi is so powerful. The rankings on the King Sage board are not so accurate. They cannot be taken seriously. Luo Tianyi is too low-key. Although she is ranked 36th on the King Sage board, her strength is enough to be in the top 20. Many people were shocked by Luo Tianyi's strength. Chapter 1884. Even if they were all king bodies, and their cultivation levels were the same, there were differences in strength. The strength of one's combat awareness, the strength of one's divine power, and the use of laws all determined one's combat strength. Moreover, even if they were all King Dao laws, there were differences in strength. Some King Dao laws were extremely powerful, exceeding other King Dao laws. For example, Luo Tianyi's Heaven Illusion Law could make people fall into a boundless illusion. There was also Luo Tsangqiong's Deprivation Law, which was rumored to be able to deprive everything and was even more overbearing. Luo Pokong, let's go! Kong Lang roared and dared not continue fighting. His figure flashed into the distance. Luo Pokong revealed a look of indignation. With a move of his body, he also fled into the distance. Lu Ming did not pursue. Although he was stronger than Luo Pokong, there was a limit. If Luo Pokong wanted to leave, with his terrifying speed of penetrating laws, he could not stop him. Retreat. Seeing Luo Pokong and Kong Lang retreat, Feng Wuchen did not dare to continue fighting. With a roar, he transformed into a gust of wind and fled into the distance, disappearing in an instant. The others also abandoned their opponents and fled frantically. Damn, this kid escaped quickly. Next time, I will definitely destroy him. Huang Li cursed and was extremely unhappy. He was an invincible existence among the younger generation of the desolate race. This was the first time he had been beaten so badly in a battle with someone of the same generation. Luo Tianyi, thank you. Lu Ming walked towards Luo Tianyi and smiled. You don't have to thank me. Luo Tianyi smiled and said, I was in seclusion. When I came out, I heard that there was a battle here, so I came to take a look. I didn't expect to see you. Unfortunately, I was too late. You're not late, you're just in time. Lu Ming laughed. That Lu Ming is also familiar with Luo Tianyi? It's amazing to have so many experts gathered together. Someone exclaimed. Lu Ming was also familiar with Luo Tianyi. With Luo Tianyi, there were too many geniuses on Lu Ming's side. There were already 5 king bodies. In addition to Lu Ming's own chaotic body, this force was too amazing. And there are so many beauties. It's enviable. Someone sighed, and this immediately received the approval of many others. Luo Tianyi, Qiu Autumn, and Huang Ling were all stunning beauties. Any one of them was one of the top beauties in the Yuanshan Academy. However, the 3 of them were all familiar with Lu Ming. How could they not be envious? This brat is really fickle in love. I wonder how my sister is doing. With her arrogant temper, would she be able to endure it? I'm looking forward to it. Xian Yinjuan chuckled. Many people looked at Xian Yinjuan. Could it be that this proud daughter of the ancient Saint clan was also acquainted with Lu Ming? The battle is over. Let's go, Xian Yinjuan said and turned to leave. The prodigies of the ancient holy clans followed behind Xian Yinjuan as if she was their leader. After that, some people also turned around and left. Huang Ling, desolate force, both of you are injured. Heal yourselves first. Lu Ming looked at Huang Ling and the others. Okay. Huang Ling, desolate force, Long Chun, Qiu Autumn, and some other injured people sat cross-legged in the air, swallowed pills, and began to heal themselves. Not long after, Huang Ling was the first to finish healing. She had the immortal heavenly phoenix body. Her vitality was extremely strong, and she was known to be immortal. No matter how serious her injuries were, she could heal quickly. Then, Long Chun and Qiu Autumn also finished healing their injuries. Their injuries were not very serious. Only Desolate Force was injured. He had taken on Desolate Force head-on earlier, and his body had been pierced several times. At this moment, his muscles wriggled, and the few holes were filled again. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful aura burst out from Desolate Force's body. This is the aura of an absolute saint. Lu Ming's eyes widened, and then he revealed a look of joy. After the battle, Desolate Force had broken through to the absolute saint realm. However, this was to be expected. Huang Li's cultivation had long reached great sage consummation, making him the closest to becoming a paragon sage among all of them. Furthermore, after the recent period of cultivation and the recent battle, his potential had been stimulated, resulting in him making a breakthrough. Ha ha ha, Desolate Force has broken through to the absolute saint realm. That's great. The other members of the Desolate race were also overjoyed. As for Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others, they were also delighted. With Desolate Force's breakthrough, their strength would be stronger in the future. It would not be easy for Feng Wuchen to deal with them. Desolate Force could still fight Feng Wuchen after breaking through to the absolute saint realm. Some people were watching from afar. The elites who had not left were also shocked. Desolate Force had broken through to the absolute saint realm. A king body absolute saint was definitely powerful. In addition to Lu Ming's terrifying combat strength, Lu Ming and his group would become a force to be reckoned with in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Courtyard. During this period of time, Many people in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Courtyard are breaking through. After a period of time, the Yuan Mountain Sacred Courtyard will probably have an even more exciting clash. That's right. Actually, there are many people with king bodies who have yet to break through to the Absolute Saint Realm. When these people break through to the Absolute Saint Realm, the clash will be even more intense. That will be a truly great era. There are also the strongest group of people who have been cultivating in the Absolute Saint battlefield. When they come out of seclusion, they will probably be even stronger. We have to work hard too. Otherwise, we will probably become the stepping stones of others in this great era. Some of the elites discussed. They felt pressured, but they were also filled with anticipation. Everyone wanted to create a dazzling spark in this great era that would be remembered by everyone. Between the heavens and earth, endless heaven and earth Yuan Qi gathered towards the power of desolates. Give him a hand. Lu Ming waved his hand and a large number of origin stones exploded, turning into billowing origin Qi that surged towards desolate force. Long Chun and the others also took out a large number of origin stones and exploded them. Endless origin Qi was absorbed by desolate force. His aura was getting stronger and stronger. The billowing Absolute Saint Qi rushed into the sky like smoke signals. After a few hours, Desolate Force's aura was retracted and he opened his eyes. Ha, Long Chun, you have to cultivate quickly. Otherwise, I will have no opponent. Desolate Force laughed and then looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, when are you going to fight with me? I'm not free. Lu Ming refused directly. Being entangled by this battle maniac would not be a good day. Desolate Force helplessly touched his head, which made many people laugh. Let's go back. Luo Tianyi, do you want to join us? Lu Ming looked at Luo Tianyi. Sure. Luo Tianyi nodded and smiled. She was so charming that some of the young men from the Divine Elephant Sect, Phoenix Palace, and the Desolate race were mesmerized. Other than Huangling and Long Chun, the others were very curious. Luo Tianyi, the sacred lady of inheritance of the Jade Lake Immortal Palace, a peerless beauty, was helping Lu Ming. Furthermore, she seemed to be very familiar with Lu Ming. She even listened to Lu Ming. This made many people's imagination run wild. Qiu Yu blinked and looked at Lu Ming and Luo Tianyi. No one knew what she was thinking. Chapter 1885. Everyone, do you have any news about the Taisui Lotus? Or, could you help me keep an eye out for news about it? Lu Ming asked after they had chatted for a while. The Taisui Lotus was the only ingredient he needed to refine the soul recovery pill. However, such a spiritual item was extremely rare. It would be difficult for him to find it alone. If he could get everyone to help him, he would have a better chance. Taisui Lotus? Some of them looked confused. Apparently, they had never heard of it. As for the remaining people who had heard the story, they were all deep in thought. The Taisui Lotus is extremely rare. It is said that it is very spiritual. It will be difficult to find it in a short period of time. However, I know of a place that might have news about it. Luo Tianyi pondered for a moment. She seemed to have thought of something. Where is it? Lu Ming was delighted. Many geniuses had joined the Jade Lake Divine Palace for generations. It was normal for Luo Tianyi to know a lot of information that ordinary people did not. The Vientiane Tower. Luo Tianyi explained. The Vientiane Tower specializes in collecting all kinds of information. They collect all kinds of information from all over the Yuan continent. They have people all over the world. As long as you spend money, you can buy any kind of information. There's such a place? Where can I find the Vientiane Tower? Lu Ming was delighted. If that was the case, he might be able to get some information from the Vientiane Tower. There's a branch of the Vientiane Tower in the Celestial City. I'll give you the exact location. Luo Tianyi took out a jade token and engraved the map on it with her spiritual consciousness. Then, she handed it to Lu Ming. The group chatted for a while and left. The next day, Lu Ming and Xiao Moon left the Yuanshan Sacred Courtyard and headed to the Vientiane Tower. The Celestial City was vast and boundless. The Vientiane Tower was located in the north of the city. The two of them flew. Soon, they found a place that was bustling with noise and excitement. Many people were surrounding it as if they were watching a good show. Shall we go down and take a look? Xiaoyu blinked and revealed a curious look. All right, let's go. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them landed and discovered an ancient platform. The platform was surrounded by people of all ages, men, women, and children. On the ancient platform, a sword was stabbed into the ground. A middle-aged man was grabbing the sword hilt and using all his strength to pull it out, but the sword wouldn't budge at all. Uncle, what's going on? Lu Ming greeted an elder and inquired about the situation. Little brother, this is your first time in Celestial City, right? Let me tell you, this sword is the Celestial Emperor's sword. The old man said proudly. What? The sword of the Celestial Emperor. Is it true? Lu Ming was shocked. The sword on the platform was actually the sword of the Celestial Arch. How could it have been passed down until now? I don't know if it's true or not, but it is said that this platform was created by the Celestial Emperor, and this sword was also placed here by the Celestial Emperor. It is 9 feet long, but no one has been able to pull it out. The old man explained. No one can pull it out, not even a martial emperor? Lu Ming was even more curious. Xiaomun also looked at the old man curiously. No, to pull this sword out, it has nothing to do with one's cultivation. Many martial emperors might not even be able to pull it out 1 foot, but those with low cultivation might be able to pull it out a little. There was once a young man who had just started cultivating and pulled it out 5 feet. The old man explained. Since ancient times, the record for pulling it out the most was 8 feet. Among the young people of this generation, there was one who pulled it out 8 feet. That was the descendant of the Celestial Emperor, the peerless genius with the bloodline of the Celestial Emperor, Xing Xinhe. Moreover, I heard that Xing Xinhe said that he would pull out the sword of the Celestial Emperor sooner or later and make it his sword. A middle-aged man interrupted from the side. Lu Ming roughly understood what was going on. At that moment, the burly man on the platform was almost exhausted. In the end, he could not even pull out 1 foot and retreated from the platform with a flushed face. People come here every day to try. Many of them were very confident at first, thinking that they could pull out the sword of the Celestial Emperor, but in the end, they were all disappointed. The old man shook his head and said, "It's just wishful thinking. How can the sword of the Celestial Emperor be pulled out so easily? Over the years, many geniuses have been born, but no one could pull it out. It's said that once you pull it out, you might get the inheritance of the Celestial Emperor." The middle-aged man sneered, "That's just a legend. Don't take it seriously." The old man shook his head. At that moment, another person stepped onto the platform and began to pull out the sword. Clang! Suddenly, the sword chimed and shook the sky. The hilt of the sword emitted a dazzling light. The sword was pulled out by a foot. However, 1 foot was the limit. No matter how hard the person tried, he could only pull it out 1 foot. After a while, the person failed and retreated from the platform. The sword sank back into the platform, leaving only the hilt exposed. How wonderful! Lu Ming exclaimed inwardly. Even a martial emperor could not pull out the sword, which showed how magical it was. A martial emperor could shatter heaven and earth when he was angry. He had infinite power, but he could not pull out the sword. If one wanted to pull out the sword, it had nothing to do with one's cultivation. It depended on the person. "This sword is mine." At that moment, a young man stepped onto the platform. His face was cold and arrogant, and he was full of confidence. How arrogant! Even the eternal Star River could not pull out the sword. How dare this person say that it's his? Many people were very confident before they went up, but they soon failed. I've seen many people like this. Some people were talking about it with disdain. The young man snorted and stepped to the hilt of the sword. He held the hilt with both hands, exhaled, and pulled it up forcefully. Clang! The sword chimed and shook the sky. The sword of the Celestial Emperor was pulled out 1 foot. Again, the young man shouted and his power exploded. The sword chimed again, and rays of light flowed out of the sword. 3 feet. He actually pulled it out 3 feet. Someone exclaimed. In an instant, the young man pulled out another 2 feet, making a total of 3 feet. This person is very talented, but he can only pull it out 3 feet. 3 feet is his limit. Someone said, Again. At that moment, the young man shouted again, and a terrifying power of law erupted from his body. That's the power of kings. This person has a king body. Many people exclaimed. Clang, clang. The sword chimed twice, and the sword was pulled out another 2 feet, making it 5 feet. He's a lesser absolute saint. This person must be a peerless genius of the Origin Mountain Sacred Court. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. However, he had never seen this person before. After the young man pulled the sword of the Celestial Emperor out 5 feet, he stopped as if he had reached his limit. The young man circulated his cultivation to the maximum, and his body was covered in endless light. Chapter 1886. After a short while, the young man shouted again. Clang! Another sword chime was heard, and the sword of the Celestial Emperor was pulled out by another foot, reaching 6 feet. This sword looks like a stone sword. Lu Ming looked carefully and found that the sword seemed to be made of stone, as if it was polished from a strange stone. 6 feet. This person is amazing. An ordinary king body can only pull out 5 feet, but this person can pull out 6 feet. Extraordinary. However, 6 feet is his limit. Since ancient times, it has been recorded that a normal king body can reach 5 feet. A few especially terrifying king bodies can reach 6 feet. As for the Son of Heaven, he can reach 7 feet. The highest record is 8 feet, but that is very rare even since ancient times. Indeed, many people were discussing. The young man had indeed reached his limit after pulling out 6 feet. After a few consecutive bursts, the sword did not move at all. In the end, the young man could only give up and retreat. The sword was once again submerged into the platform. Interesting. Autumn Moon, do you want to give it a try? Lu Ming asked. Let's give it a try. Qiu smiled. She was also eager to try what she saw just now. Haha, little girl, you want to try too? I bet you can pull out 3 feet. I have faith in you. The middle-aged man laughed. There were many young people who came here every day to draw their swords, but how many of them could pull out 3 feet? The middle-aged man was just joking. Autumn Moon smiled and did not say anything. She stepped onto the platform and grabbed the sword hilt. Rise! Autumn Moon shouted, and her saint power surged as she pulled up with all her might. Clang! 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 3 consecutive sword chimes were heard, and the sword of the Celestial Emperor was pulled out 3 feet. The middle-aged man was stunned and tongue-tied. You really pulled it out 3 feet? He had just said it casually. He never expected that the little girl could pull it out 3 feet. Uncle, it's not over yet. Lu Ming laughed. Rise. At this time, Autumn Moon shouted again, and the law of yin and yang spread out. Clang, clang, clang. The sword chimes continued to ring, and 3 more chimes were heard. 6 feet. King body, another king body, and an extremely terrifying one at that. Another prodigy has appeared. This woman should be a prodigy from Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard. The mid-autumn moon was pulled out by 6 feet, which caused a heated discussion. In the past, there were very few people who could pull out 6 feet. On average, it would take many years for one to appear. Today, in such a short period of time, 2 people appeared consecutively. This was very rare. Of course, when the Origin Mountain Sacred Academy was first opened, it was the most lively. In a single day, more than 10 heavenly geniuses who could pull out 5 feet and 6 feet appeared, shaking the entire celestial city. However, Autumn Moon had reached her limit after pulling out 6 feet. After a few fruitless attempts, she gave up and returned to Lu Ming's side. Do you want to try? Autumn Moon looked at Lu Ming curiously. Lu Ming was a son of chaos. She wanted to see how many feet Lu Ming could pull out. On the side, the middle-aged uncle and the old man looked at Lu Ming curiously. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon walked together. Could it be that he was also a king body? Could it be that he was also an existence who could pull out 5 feet, or even 6 feet? If so, today would be lively. Okay, I'll give it a try. Lu Ming smiled. Since he was here, he might as well give it a try. Lu Ming stepped onto the platform. Many people looked at Lu Ming. There are really a lot of young people who came today. Indeed, I wonder how many feet this person can pull out? To be able to come up after 2 king bodies, I'm afraid he's not simple. Today is really lively. Some people looked at Lu Ming curiously and looked forward to it. Could it be that Lu Ming could also pull out 6 feet? Lu Ming came to the side of the sword hilt and held the sword with both hands. Suddenly, he felt a wonderful warm force gushing out from the sword hilt and pouring into Lu Ming's body. Is this energy able to test a person's cultivation? Lu Ming secretly guessed. Because the people who came here to pull out the sword had nothing to do with their cultivation level. A martial emperor might not even be able to pull out 1 foot, but a person who had just started cultivating could pull out 5 feet. Then let's see how many feet I can pull out. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed as he pulled hard. Clang! The sound of the sword rang out, and the long sword was pulled out 1 foot. It's really heavy, Lu Ming muttered. The saint force in his body surged, and the 2 saint hearts rotated rapidly. Endless power poured into Lu Ming's hands, and he pulled up again. Clang! 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 4 consecutive sword cries rang out. The sword's body was overflowing with brilliant colors, and it was dazzling. 5 feet. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had pulled out 5 feet. He hasn't used the precepts yet. Someone exclaimed in disbelief. He can pull out 5 feet without using the precepts. How is that possible? Are we seeing things? Everyone was in disbelief. Without using the precepts, he could pull out 5 feet. This was too shocking. The person with the king body looked at Lu Ming, and a bright light burst out of his eyes. It's really heavy, but this is not my limit. Rise. Lu Ming still did not use the precepts. He relied on the saint force and the power of his spirit body. Clang! Another sword cry rang out. 6 feet. Lu Ming still did not use the precepts. The whole place was silent, and everyone stared at Lu Ming. Without using the precepts, he could pull out 6 feet. This was too shocking. Unbelievable. I wonder what level of precepts this person has. If it's a powerful king precepts, he might be able to pull out another foot and be on par with the Elysian child. Someone spoke, and his voice was a little muffled. The middle-aged man and the old man who had been chatting with Lu Ming were also tongue-tied. The gentle young man who had been chatting with them was actually so powerful. To be able to pull out 6 feet without using the precepts, it seemed that only the Stellar River had done so before. Didn't that mean that Lu Ming had already tied the Stellar River's record? Again, Lu Ming's eyes revealed a look of determination. He felt that he had not reached his limit yet. In his spirit body, he had refined a strand of chaos chi. The strength of his spirit body far exceeded that of a superior sky spirit body. Most importantly, he had 2 saint hearts with unlimited potential. Rise for me, Lu Ming shouted. Other than the precepts, all the power poured into his arms and erupted in an instant. Clang! Another sword cry resounded through the sky, and a sword chi rushed into the sky. 7 feet. Lu Ming pulled out 7 feet, but he still did not use the precepts. How is this possible? How is this possible? Without using the precepts, he can pull out 7 feet. This has never been seen before. When the Stellar River did not use the precepts, he could only pull out 6 feet. Doesn't that mean that Lu Ming has surpassed the Stellar River's record? Some people say that the reason why the Stellar River can pull out 6 feet without using the precepts is because he is a descendant of the Celestial Emperor. Otherwise, it would not be possible. How can this person do it? Chapter 1887. One had to know that an ordinary Elysian child could only pull out 7 feet. However, Lu Ming could pull out 7 feet without using any nomological laws. This was incredible. Could it be that he has secretly used laws, but we didn't notice? Someone couldn't help but guess. It's possible, very possible. This guess was agreed by most people. Otherwise, it would be too shocking. But in the next moment, everyone shut up. Rise. A voice sounded in everyone's ears, and the law of chaos erupted from Lu Ming's body. Clang. Immediately, another sword chime sounded. At this moment, the long sword whistled, and a shocking sword chi rushed into the sky and disappeared into the boundless starry sky. The entire platform was shining, and the endless radiance almost drowned Lu Ming. The scene fell into a dead silence. 8 feet. Lu Ming pulled out 8 feet and even used laws. This proved that Lu Ming really did not use laws just now and pulled out 7 feet. At this moment, he used laws and pulled out the 8-foot-long sword in one fell swoop, tying with the historical record and also the Stellar Rivers record. The law of chaos. This person is one of the sons of heaven, the son of chaos. It's too shocking, pulling out 8 feet, tying the Stellar Rivers record. Can this person completely pull out the sword of the celestial arch? As soon as these words came out, the entire place fell silent again, and it became so quiet that a pin drop could be heard. Lu Ming could pull out 7 feet without using the power of laws, which was unprecedented since ancient times. Then, after Lu Ming used laws, could he pull out 9 feet? That was really hard to say. Could it be that the sword of the celestial arch that had been inserted here for countless years was about to appear? Many people trembled in their hearts, both nervous and expectant. The uncle and uncle who were chatting with Lu Ming before were completely stunned. They never expected that the young man who was chatting with them just now was a rare, peerless genius since ancient times. 8 feet, still 1 foot short. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes were extremely bright. At this moment, he gathered all the strength in his body into his arms. The muscles all over his body bulged one by one, filled with endless strength. Then, he pulled out the sword. Clang! A sword cry resounded through the sky, causing everyone's hearts to beat violently. At this moment, the boundless sword light pierced through the heavens. A shocking sword light stood between the heavens and earth. Everyone in Celestial City could see it. On the platform, amidst the boundless radiance, a young man raised his sword high, resembling the legendary god of war. Lu Ming pulled out the sword of the Celestial Emperor and held it in his hand. At this moment, time seemed to have frozen, and space seemed to have frozen as well. Everything stopped at this moment, as though it was an eternity. In the center of Celestial City, there was an incomparably majestic palace. At this moment, numerous silhouettes rushed out from the palace, emitting powerful and terrifying auras. The sword of the Celestial Emperor has appeared. In this world, other than Xinghe, there is actually someone who can pull out the Celestial Emperor's sword? Let's go. The sword of the Celestial Emperor cannot fall into the hands of outsiders. We must take it back. Voices rang out one after another. Then, they stepped into the air and left. On the platform where the sword of the Celestial Emperor was located, Lu Ming could not help but feel uncomfortable, as if a crisis was about to befall him. With a thought, Lu Ming kept the sword of the Celestial Emperor into the mountain and river diagram. Then, he flew down and pulled Autumn Moon and said, "Let's go." The two of them turned into 2 rays of light and left the place in an instant. It was not until Lu Ming and Autumn Moon disappeared that the crowd woke up from their daze and reacted. The sword of the Celestial Emperor has been pulled out. The sword of the Celestial Emperor that has been here for thousands of years has actually been pulled out. Who is that young man? He controls the law of primal chaos. He should be a genius of Yuan Mountain Sacred Courtyard. It's not difficult to find out. Many people discussed excitedly. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, several silhouettes suddenly appeared in the sky. Each of them emitted a terrifying aura, causing everyone to tremble. Emperor's aura. It's a martial emperor expert. And it's the martial emperors of the Hong family. The Hong family claims to have the bloodline of the Celestial Emperor. Now that the sword of the Celestial Emperor has been pulled out, the Hong family will definitely make a move. Hung Xinghe has already said that the sword of the Celestial Emperor will be pulled out by him sooner or later and will become his sword. Many people discussed in low voices. The emperor-level powerhouse of the Hong family swept his gaze across the empty platform. His eyes were extremely shocked. At the same time, a gloomy expression flashed across his face. The sword of the Celestial Emperor was really pulled out. Who is it? Who pulled out the sword of the Celestial Emperor? A powerful martial emperor of the Hong family swept his gaze across the audience. His powerful martial emperor aura made everyone's breathing difficult. I don't know. It's a young man, but he has already left. Someone replied, "A young man? Who is it? Which force is he from?" The emperor-level powerhouse of the Hong family asked, "I don't know, but he is the son of primal chaos and controls the law of primal chaos. He should be from Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard." Someone said, "Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard." The face of the Hong family's emperor-level powerhouse turned gloomy. If it was a genius of Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard, then it would be difficult to deal with. Although the Hong family was extremely powerful and claimed to be the descendant of the celestial emperor, their foundation was deep and their strength was unfathomable. They were one of the strongest forces in Celestial City. However, Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard was jointly established by 3 great emperors. They did not dare to directly go to Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard to ask for the person. That person should not have gone far. Chase, it's best to take him down before he returns to Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard. The sword of the Celestial Emperor can only belong to our Hung family. The leader of the Hung family's martial emperors spoke. The other martial emperors moved one after another and flew in all directions. At this moment, Lu Ming had changed his appearance. He pulled out the sword of the Celestial Emperor and inexplicably felt a sense of crisis in his heart. Moreover, the appearance of the sword of the Celestial Emperor would definitely alarm many powerful forces. Therefore, he made a prompt decision and immediately left with Autumn Moon. He found a secret place and sent Autumn Moon into the mountain river diagram. After that, he used divine breath technique and turned into a middle-aged man with sallow skin. With his current cultivation, even martial emperors would not be able to recognize him so easily. He swaggered down the street and headed in the direction of Vientiane Tower. Not long after, there was indeed a terrifying expert whistling through the sky. Terrifying emperor's aura spread in all directions, causing many people to feel apprehensive. Sure enough, they are chasing after me. Which force is this expert from? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and guessed in his heart. However, his figure did not stop as he headed towards Vientiane Tower. Those martial emperors scanned with their spiritual sense, but they could not recognize him at all. The other party had not even seen his face. Moreover, he used divine breath technique. How could they discover him? Not long after, Lu Ming arrived in front of a pavilion in the north of Celestial City. This is Vientiane Tower. Lu Ming walked in, and immediately an old man came to receive Lu Ming. "Dear guest, may I ask what help you need?" The old man asked. "I need to inquire about a piece of information." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.